أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربي يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير آمين يا رب العالمين. Let us do a revision of the second lecture. Meaningful words in Arabic are called kalima. There are three types of kalima. These are ism, fail, and harf. These are also the parts of speech in Arabic language. The focus of the second lecture was the study of ism. Ism literally means name, and we studied that ism will include several categories. The first of these categories is that of names. Ism can be the name of a person, name of a place, thing, or the name of an action. Ism will also include a category of zamair or pronouns, and we will study them in detail in the later sections, inshallah. Ism will also include a category of sifat or adjectives. These can be simple sifat, for example the word saleh, which means pious, or the word jameel, which means beautiful. Sifat will also include the name of colors, for example aswad, which means black. Sifat will include comparative and superlative degrees of adjectives. For example, the words kabir versus akbar, saghir versus asghar. Kabir means big or great. Akbar means greater or greatest. Saghir means small, and asghar means smaller or smallest. So kabir is an adjective, and akbar is the comparative or superlative degree of that adjective. Similarly, saghir or small is the adjective, and asghar is the comparative or superlative degree of that adjective. Finally, sifat will include a category of words such as the words sajid versus masjud, abid versus ma'bud. Sajid is the one performing sajda. Masjud is the one towards whom sajda is performed. Abid is the one who worships. Ma'bud is the one who is being worshipped. So these are some of the categories of ism that were studied in the second lecture. In the third lecture, we will study ism in more detail. We will introduce the four characteristics of ism, and furthermore, we will introduce gender in Arabic grammar. We need to know four characteristics about each ism. Without these characteristics, we can neither fully understand the ism nor use it properly in a sentence. So what are these four characteristics? For each ism, we need to know the gender of the ism, the number of the ism, the capacity of the ism, and the status of the ism. Once again, the four categories of an ism that we need to know are the gender, number, capacity, and status. The term used for gender is jins. Number is called adad. Capacity is called wusat. And status is called i'rab. We will study each of them in detail. And the focus of the current lecture is to study the gender or jins of an ism. There are two types of gender. These are masculine and feminine. The term used for masculine gender is muzakkar, and the term used for feminine gender is muannas. So for each ism that is used pertinent to the gender, that ism will either be masculine or feminine. Every ism will have a gender, and this gender will either be masculine or muzakkar, or feminine or muannas. To use an ism in a sentence, it is very important to know the gender of that ism. it is important to know if that ism is masculine or muzakkar or feminine or muannas. If the ism is neither masculine or feminine in the traditional sense, then it is important to know how to use that ism as masculine or feminine. Let us clarify this further. So what does it mean that an ism can sometimes neither be masculine nor feminine in the traditional sense, but it is still important for us to know how to use that ism as masculine or feminine? Let us look at some examples to elaborate further. The first example is that of the word girl, which clearly indicates the feminine gender. In contrast, the word boy clearly indicates the masculine gender. But what about examples of ism such as the word qalam, meaning pen, or the word kitab, which means book? Qalam is an example of ism. Kitab is an example of ism. And for us to successfully use qalam or kitab in a sentence, we have to know 4 characteristics about qalam and 4 characteristics about kitab. And the first of those characteristics is the gender. So what gender do we use for qalam, or what gender do we use for kitab? Kitab and qalam are both ism, and by themselves they are neither masculine nor feminine words, but they will still be used in the masculine or feminine context in a sentence. A good example to understand this is from Urdu, where we say meri kitab or mera qalam. So in Urdu, qalam is used in the masculine sense, mera qalam, and kitab is used in the feminine sense, meri kitab. Taken this all together, we come to the conclusion that there are certain examples of ism where we will clearly know if that ism is masculine or feminine, such as girl, boy, woman, man. But then there are other examples of ism where we will identify the gender of that ism by following certain rules. Let us study those rules in more detail. To easily identify an ism as masculine or feminine, each ism can be considered masculine unless it can be proven to be feminine. We will therefore focus our study on how to identify feminine asma. Please note that asma is a word which is a plural of ism. Ism is singular, asma is plural. So for each ism, we will look at certain criteria, and we will see if that ism fits the criteria for a feminine ism. If it meets that criteria, we will call that ism a feminine ism. And if it does not meet that criteria, we will call that ism a masculine ism. Once again, every ism has a gender, and that gender will either be masculine or muzakkar, or it will be the feminine gender or muannas. Our study focus will be on studying the different types of feminine asma. Feminine asma are broadly divided into 2 categories. These are real feminine asma or haqiqi muannas, or unreal feminine asma, also called ghair haqiqi muannas. We will be studying each of these categories in more detail. Let us study real feminine or haqiqi muannas in more detail. The gender of an ism will be feminine or masculine. Within feminine, there are 2 groups. The first one is real feminine or haqiqi muannas. The other category is unreal feminine or ghair haqiqi muannas. We will study examples of ism or asma that fall into the real feminine category. Members of the real feminine category are universally designated as feminine. What does that mean? That means that each real feminine ism will have a defined opposite masculine gender, such as woman versus man, girl versus boy, mother versus father. Real feminine asma are the easiest to identify. All we need to know is the meaning of the word in Arabic. If we know the meaning of the ism in Arabic, we can easily identify this category of words. Examples: the word is an ism and it means mother. So it falls in the category of a real feminine because it has a designated opposite gender, which is father. Bint is another example of real feminine ism because bint means daughter. Ukht means sister. It's a real feminine ism, and the opposite ism in gender would be brother. Imra'ah, this means woman, and this too is a real feminine ism. Finally, baqarah, which means cow. That is also a real feminine ism. We will now introduce ghair hakiki muannas asma or unreal feminine asma. We go back to our diagram of gender of ism. We have the feminine gender and the masculine gender. Within the feminine gender, the first group we studied was that of real feminine asma or hakiki muannas asma. Examples include girl, woman, sister, daughter. These are straightforward examples of the feminine gender, and each ism in this group will have a corresponding masculine gender. The other group of feminine asma is called the unreal feminine asma group or ghair hakiki muannas asma. We use the term unreal feminine as these asma are used as feminine in a sentence. An ism from the group of unreal feminine asma will not have a corresponding masculine gender. So how do we identify an unreal feminine ism or a ghair hakiki muannas ism? An unreal feminine ism or ghair hakiki muannas ism can be either an alamati muannas. Alamat means sign. So this type of feminine ism will be identified by the presence of a mark or by the presence of a symbol. We will study this further in the next slide, inshallah. An unreal feminine ism or ghair hakiki muannas ism can also be an example of a samai muannas. Samai muannas will neither fit into the category of a real feminine ism, nor will it fit into the category of alamati muannas. So it will not be the typical real feminine, and it will also not be identified by the presence of a mark or a symbol. These asma are basically used as feminine by native speakers of the Arabic language, and we have to follow their rules. We will also study samai muannas in more detail in the subsequent sections, inshallah. Next, we will study alamati muannas. We return to our diagram of gender. We have the feminine gender and the masculine gender. Within the feminine gender, we have the real feminine group or hakiki muannas group. And then we have the unreal feminine group or ghair hakiki muannas group. Unreal feminine asma are called unreal because they are not like the typical feminine asma such as mother, daughter, sister, girl. Those are all examples of real feminine or hakiki muannas. Unreal feminine asma are called unreal because they will be used as feminine in a sentence. These muannas asma have no corresponding masculine gender. We further studied that unreal feminine asma have two groups. The first group is that of samai muannas, and the second group is that of alamati muannas. On this slide, we will study alamati muannas. The word alamat means sign, meaning that this type of feminine ism will be identified by the presence of a mark or a symbol. So what are these marks or these symbols that will help us identify an alamati muannas or a marked feminine ism? The first of these signs, and the most important one and the most common one, is the gol ta. You can also call this the round ta. So whenever we see the gol ta or the round ta at the end of a ghair hakiki muannas or at the end of an unreal feminine ism, it should trigger our attention to the possibility that this might be an alamati muannas. The other 1% of marked or symbolic muannas asma are in the minority, and these will be studied in the later lectures, inshallah. We now move on to the study of samai muannas asma. Feminine asma will include the real feminine or hakiki muannas group, or it will include the unreal feminine or ghair hakiki muannas group. Unreal feminine asma do not have a corresponding masculine gender. We studied the first group of unreal feminine asma, which was the marked feminine asma or alamati muannas asma group. These asma are identified by the presence of a mark or a symbol. In majority of the cases, that will be indicated by the presence of the gol ta or the round ta at the end of the ism. The other group of unreal feminine asma is that of samai muannas. So samai muannas will neither include the real feminine asma, such as girl, woman, daughter, sister, nor will it include the marked feminine asma. Samai muannas asma are used as feminine in a sentence because the Arabs do so, and we have to follow their rules. The best way to remember samai muannas asma is to categorize them or to put them into certain groups. The first group of samai muannas asma will include certain words and names, such as words that are used for wind or hawa in Urdu, words that are used for alcohol, words that are used for fire, and the names of cities and countries. For example, the word used for fire in Arabic is nar. So whenever we see the word nar in the Arabic text or in a sentence, we will know that that word is being used in the feminine sense because it is an example of a samai muannas ism. The next category is that of parts of body that exist in pairs. For example, hands, feet, arms, legs, eyes, and ears. All of these parts of body are the ones that exist in pairs, and that is a clue that they will be used as feminine in a sentence because they're examples of samai muannas asma. In contrast, parts of the body that do not exist in pairs, such as tongue, nose, head, will be used as masculine in a sentence. The final group includes a miscellaneous category. This will include the word nafs, which is used as feminine in a sentence because it's an example of a samai muannas. And for the rest of the words, it is better to just remember a diagram. This diagram includes the sky. So the word used for sky is sama, and sama will be used as feminine in a sentence because it's an example of samai muannas. The word shams is also used as feminine. Shams means sun. The word dar is an example of samai muannas. It will be used as feminine in a sentence. Dar means house. And finally, the word arz, which stands for earth. So the word arz will be used as feminine in a sentence because it's an example of a samai muannas. Let us summarize the study of gender of ism in Arabic. To identify an ism as masculine or feminine, each ism can be considered masculine or muzakkar unless it can be proven to be feminine or muannas. The gender of an ism will be either masculine or feminine, Within feminine asma, we have the real feminine asma group or hakiki muannas asma group. This will include asma like woman, mother, girl, sister, cow. For each of these words, we will find a corresponding masculine ism. For example, for woman, we have man. For mother, we have father. The other group of feminine asma is that of unreal feminine asma or ghair hakiki muannas asma. Ghair hakiki muannas asma will have no corresponding masculine gender. Within unreal feminine asma, the first group is that of alamati muannas asma or marked feminine asma. These asma are identified by the presence of a mark or a symbol. Majority of the times, the symbol will be the gol ta or the round ta that we can find at the end of the ism. The second group of unreal feminine or ghair hakiki muannas asma is that of samai muannas asma. These are examples of words that are used by the Arabs in the feminine sense. Samai muannas asma includes several categories, including words that are used for wind, alcohol, fire, and the names of cities and countries. Words that are used for body parts that exist in pairs, such as hands, feet, eyes, etc. And then a miscellaneous set of words such as sama, shams, dar, ard, and nafs. Let's do some practice where we'll try to identify the gender of certain words. The first word that we have is means mother. Or mother is an example of a real feminine ism or a hakiki muannas ism. Therefore, is a real feminine. The next word is ab. Ab means father. Father is the opposite gender of mother, so it will be masculine. The third word is walad, which means boy. Similar to the example above, boy is a typical masculine, and that's why we will call it as such. Bint, which means daughter. Bint and daughter are also examples from the real feminine or hakiki muannas group. So the word bint is a real feminine. Rajul means man. That will be masculine. Kitab or book. If we look at the word kitab, we will try to see if it fits into any of the feminine category group. Kitab is not a real feminine because it does not have a corresponding masculine gender. The word kitab is not an alamati muannas because it does not have a gol ta at the end. The word kitab is also not a samai muannas because it is not the name of wind, alcohol, fire, or the name of a city or a country. Kitab is not a body part. Kitab does not fall into any of these miscellaneous categories. So we can reliably say that kitab does not fall into the category of muannas, so it must be muzakkar or masculine. So kitab is masculine. Similarly, kursi, like kitab, also does not fall into any of the muannas or feminine categories. So kursi is masculine. Masjid or mosque is also masculine because it does not fall into any of the categories of muannas. We call kitab, kursi, masjid masculine because they will be used as masculine in a sentence. The next word is madrasa. Madrasa means school. Is madrasa a masculine or a feminine ism? We will look at our diagram. We don't know if madrasa is a masculine, so we will look at the different groups of feminine and see if madrasa fits any description. We know that madrasa is not a real feminine. It is not a real feminine or hakiki muannas ism because it does not have a corresponding masculine ism. So we will see if madrasa is an unreal feminine ism. First, we will look for presence